Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I will reach heaven through violence.
Don't we all? I guess. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at Violence from Luke Gearing. And what I have is the Violence collection, which is not violence. It is a collection of violence. I will say, I don't know if you've seen this. I'm sure in the book you've seen it, but did you ever see the sticker that comes with this?
No, show me. Ooh, oh yeah, cool. It's that one. Very cool.
Yeah. It's like all shiny and stuff. It says, haha, I'm using violence. And it's got this guy, it's got like a very Western thing with like a monocle. And he's like literally like head back cackling with his fucking teeth out. It's a dope sticker. This is like honestly worth the price of the book just to get the fucking sticker.
Absolutely.
And then it's got Luke Gearing's blog post URL for Violence on it, which, for those not watching, lukegearing.blot.im/violence. So like I said, we're doing something a little bit different today because we're not gonna review this. Because first of all, the game is like 2 pages long. It's more than a micro game. Like it's not, but not much more. It's a tiny little game.
It's a blog post that people in the community really ran with.
Yeah. So what it really is first of all, if you don't know who Luke Gearing is, I can't help you. Google exists. But
I can help you. Listen, Luke Gearing created Swivers, Wolves Upon the Coast, The Isle. A prolific writer in the tabletop RPG space, the indie space. He has a really fantastic blog that also supports a lot of his previous releases with some more mechanics that go with it and just his kind of musings on design and other things about games. He works, I think he's currently employed, or they are currently employed with Tuesday Night Games.
Yeah.
So they're on the
mothership
mothership.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're shit fucks. Unceasingly. Yeah, everything they touch is great. And hard. And we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So what is
there's a very like anti holding your hand with anything that Luke Gearing puts out that I find really pretty funny.
There is this very subtle undercurrent of like fuck you to everything that they put out that I enjoy immensely.
I think it's more maybe it's a little bit that, but I think also it's like the respect of the people, like the respect to your readers to figure this out and not have to hold their hands through it. Because anything that Luke puts out is definitely not for a casual first time TTRPG player. Like there is context to a lot of the things that they release that they expect you to have an understanding of.
Yeah. I mean, well, we'll get into it more in the system.
Maybe a little bit of fuck you too.
Yeah. So. But also the prose is fire. When we start getting into some of the monsters in some of this stuff, it's crazy. If you haven't read The Isle is very much an adventure that's like incredible as a piece of prose, but also as an adventure is very much like, again, like there is not one. It is very much like an absentee father in the feels you get from like the support you get from Luke Gearing's stuff. But again, I very much enjoy it. But so what is Violence? Violence is it's a resolution. It's not even a game really. It's just a resolution system, and it's not even. And even that is just a framework. And we'll go over that a little bit more and what that means and everything here in just a moment. But what we're going to go over today is the Violence period combined and revised PDF, which is the PDF on Luke Gearing's blog, which is the resolution system, which really just gives you violence, non-violence, and kind of a bit of framework for character creation, and that's about it. And then a little bit of examples, making it into a bit of a game. And then we're going to be talking about what's in my hair right now, which is the print of the Violence collection. Violence collection, fuck war. There was a Violence jam that was put out, and this was collected and made in this book, and then you can buy it on Spearwitch, and you get the dope sticker I was talking about. And then there was a Violence Jam 2, which we'll go over a little bit too. It does not currently exist in print. I think maybe recently, because I've looked at it before and didn't see it, but recently there is a, for those that don't know, Mixam does print on demand now. So there is a print on demand link to Mixam for Violence 2, and when you click on it, it basically just says, we're like the Mixam people are in the process of approving it. So the second that gets approved, I'll be snatching that. So we're going to kind of go through those things, because those jam entries, the first one more than the second one is a little bit more like, a lot of them are kind of incomplete, or they're just like an addendum to a rule, or maybe an adventure, or things like that. And then the second one is much more complete adventures, kind of. So we're going to touch on a lot of those things. But we're not going to, like I said, we're not going to give a score. We're just going to kind of talk about it, talk about what we like about it, and just kind of go through the jam stuff. And really just, I don't know, this is kind of a more of kind of the episode we did with Nate Treem's like Highland Paranormal stuff, where we're just going to go through the stuff and just talk about how it's so fucking cool. That's pretty much it. And how the people in the scene can make cool shit. Yeah, and highlight that stuff a little bit. So, if you're watching live and you haven't gone to our Blue Sky and liked our post about Hell Knight, the Black Rainbow Society, you have until the end of the episode to like that post, and then we're going to pick a winner at the end of the episode. And then Gavork Rogo, the creator of this, is going to send you a free copy of this book. So scroll back in our Blue Sky, find the picture of me holding this, and make sure you like the post, not the quote post of the post. And we'll do that. But otherwise, let's get fucking violent, bro.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. So, Violence, combined and revised. For those that can't see, it's black on white in a very, what is this font? It's just a plain serif font.
Yep.
It is as bare fucking bones as you can imagine. Like, this is the most Lugarian shit ever, pretty much. But you know what's crazy is this whole thing is only 9 pages long, and yet, even though we're not reviewing this, did you notice that it not only has hyperlinks, it is fully bookmarked, and it is only 9 fucking pages.
So fucking ridiculous. I think it is 11 pages long, sir.
Oh, maybe the last entry just starts on page 9. You are correct. So the contents are rules.
That's so funny. I did not realize it was. I didn't need to look through bookmarks. I did not realize it's like completely bookmarked.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you get contents, which is the rules, which covers violence, which is initiative, shooting, melee, injury, down, rolling with disadvantage and advantage, edge cases, and then non-violence. Then you get characters, making it yours, and then pseudo-historical violence, which is just a modification to the system, which is cool to show the modification of the system, like how you can kind of make it your own. And then there is the Modern Federal Paranormal Horror and Investigation Toolkit, which is as close as Luke gets to kind of making this a game. And I don't know if you noticed in Violence 2, like half of it is just like 3 more adventures for the Modern Federal Paranormal. So we'll go over those a little bit. But that's it. And that's what we're going to go over right now. And then we're going to go through the 2 Violence collections. So let's read up on Violence. And even the table of contents I love, because it's like violence and then it's just like ... all the way across the page. It's very much like if you were to write this up in like, I don't know, the 80s on a typewriter, like it does have that feel. Yeah, as bare bones. It feels like Modern Federal Paranormal Horror Investigation Toolkit too, a little bit, you know what I mean? So getting into the rules, period. Violence, period. Initiative. You roll a d20 for each individual or group. There is a what is this thing called? The thing, it's the one after that denotes a thing. I can't remember what that part of punctuation is called, but it denotes a thing. It says roll a d20 for each individual or group involved in the combat. Scroll to the bottom.
Do you know those are hyperlinked on this too?
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
They fucking numbers are, bro.
They are.
No excuse not to do this for anybody. So groups can be used for larger scale actions involving, for example, 3 to 4 bands per side of a conflict. So that's what that means. Roll a d20 for each individual or group involved in the combat. Write these down and resolve highest first. Do this at the beginning of each round. So the beginning of every round, everyone rolls a d20 and you put it in order, you know? Shooting. And don't forget, this is not a complete game. This is a framework and a resolution mechanic, right? Shooting, to shoot someone, roll 16 plus on a d20. So if I want to shoot you, I roll a d20, got to roll 16 plus. There's modifiers to this. So Roll with advantage when the target is not in cover or moving. That means the baseline is advantage. Like if you're just standing there, it's advantage, you know?
Yeah, it's a cover shooter.
Yeah. It reminds me, Rad did this a little bit where they decided that like if you're not in cover, you have advantage, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, those with training may take an advantage. So you could have training. From what? Figure it out. When firing multiple shots, add +1 per additional shot to a maximum of +6. If successful, roll for how many shots find their mark. Resolve each bullet individually. I did have questions about this. I talked to some other people that have run violence before. This is probably the only part that I'm the least sure of. So when firing multiple shots, add +1 per shot. So if I fire 6 shots,
right,
I add +6 to my 16 plus, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's
if
what
successful, so if successful, so I'd say I rolled an 18, right? I shoot you. And then if successful, roll for how many shots find their mark. Resolve each bullet individually. That's the part I'm not sure of. So then
do I roll a d20 6 times? It's how I read it at least.
Right, but do you add the +6 for each bullet each time? My thought is no. My thought is just you roll to see how many hit. You've already hit. You're already going to injure. You're just seeing how many hit. But like if you're just doing the modifier on the initial roll or for every individual bullet is my only question. That's the only part that you can't really parse out of this.
Yeah, I agree. What did your sources tell you about how they ran this?
To just do it for the first shot to see if you hit, and then just do 16 plus for the rest of the bullets individually, just to see how many of them hit.
Okay,
that's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
Because rolling with +6 for every bullet, but I mean, that would also make sense. So you can just do it kind of either way.
There is definitely an argument there for that.
Yeah, and I think that is the only unclear thing in here, because I think the other question I had does resolve itself if you just read it not dumb, which I think right. Like, again, we'll get there in a second. So when someone is shot, roll a d20 and apply the following modifiers. This is called an injury check elsewhere. Apparently not here, but it is called an injury check. So each injury they have adds +2. So if you've been shot at all, you have an injury and you get +2. Rifle calibers add a +4. Shotguns add +5 at close ranges and +2 at medium. And concealed or civilian armor subtracts -2. Military hardsuit subtract -4. So let's just say for example, you take 2 bullets hit you. Mm-hmm. I assume that's 2 injuries, right? Each injury they have adds +2, so that's +4. Right, so you're gonna roll a d20 +4, and that's what you're gonna check after you've been shot, right?
Yeah.
So roll me a d20 +4.
Should have had dice roll already. Yeah. It's okay. We're here. We're now. D20 So I rolled a 20.
So sick. Yeah.
So I'm immediately down.
Yeah. And then
so you're rolling more just for the example.
Yeah. So every time.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I rolled a 9 this time. So 9 + 4. I rolled a 13, which is actually also the same. Which is also being down.
So the 3 results are d20. It's 1 to 6 is a flesh wound, no effect. 8 to 12 is an injury. 13 plus is down. So when you get shot, you're seeing if you getting shot actually injured you or not. So you could get shot 6 times, but if you roll between 1 and 6 for each injury, including these modifiers that are listed here, you could theoretically get flesh wounded by every single bullet. That's totally fine. The odds of that is not high. And then with all of these injuries that you add, realistically, you're very likely to get a 13 plus and go down. And that's kind of like the core of the system is if you get shot, you have a very good chance of fucking dying on one shot.
I love for rules that have like gun rules. It's like, guns kill people like almost immediately a lot of the time. So yeah.
I mean, even the name violence is like, there's like a nuance to it because it's very much like, this might be the deadliest system we've ever looked at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it might be.
Like if you
9 Lives Valhalla. So,
well, something died. Yeah, well, yeah, right. Every dice roll something dies. This is damn close to every dice roll something dying.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the core of the game a little bit, because like it really is kind of about shooting weak to melee in just a second. But that's kind of what it is. You roll 16 or higher when you want to shoot someone on a d20. And then if you shoot them, they add some modifiers to see how injured they get from your shot, potentially immediately going down on the first shot. That's crazy. Then there's melee. So compare melee modifiers. and the modifiers are listed below. It says, note the difference between them. Below is only a sample, which again, this is saying that this is a resolution mechanic and a framework for you to take this resolution mechanic and make it your own. And that's one reason we're not rating this or scoring this, because it's not a game. It's a resolution mechanic.
Yeah.
It's a resolution mechanic with built-in explanation to an extent of like making it your own thing, which is great. So the modifiers, for example, only a sample: improvised weapons add +1, small weapons add +2, large weapons +3, training +2, masterful training +3, injury subtract -2 when you're going into melee. So both combatants, for melee, not a d20, both combatants roll a d12. And then the combatant with the highest total modifier adds the difference to their roll. That was the other question I had.
Yeah.
Because, and that's a later addition. It's the last addendum on the blog post, because they Luke put like kind of like a change log kind of every time they updated it with like the date for what they changed. The last thing they said was that they adjusted the melee bands. And when we look through Violence Collection 1, that add-on isn't there. It basically just says add your modifiers, see who hits, right? This one says the combatant with the highest total modifiers adds the difference to their roll. So if you have a modifier of 4 and I have a modifier of 2, I add 2 to my roll because that's the difference between our two rolls. Like if you have 5 and I have 1, you would add 4 to yours and I would add nothing. I like that. It keeps the modifiers low even as you stack, because you have to like chop off the differences. And when we get to advantage and disadvantage,
it's very interesting. I definitely can like see how it works in my head. I'd love to play some combat in this. With this.
Yeah. Well, advantage and disadvantage work similar. We'll get to that in a second, where like they cancel each other out, so you only have so many versions of it. And I feel like this is like that version of it, where your modifiers cancel down until you only have like some remainders, and that's it. I like it. I think it's interesting. If the difference between them, so it doesn't even matter what you roll, it's the difference between the two rolls is what matters in melee. So if the difference between them is 1 or less, both are injured and go down. Fuck, if you both roll a 12, you're down. You're both down. Yeah. You both stab each other,
hit
and you're
each
out.
other in the head at the exact same time,
and you're out. That's crazy. If the difference is 2 to 3, the victor is injured. The defeated is injured and goes down. Okay, like you're still hurting even if you walk out of it, right? And if the difference is 4+, the defeated is injured and goes down. So you have to roll higher than 4+ to be able to hit someone. But again, same thing with melee. If we're both in a knife fight, we're both getting fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yes, like, absolutely.
So injury. What is an injury? An injury is not just an abstract measure of damage. The referee should endeavor to make injuries real. Broken bones, debilitating wounds, blows to the head. What is an injury? That's the explanation for it. Like, again, this is a framework for how you to make it yourself. So we'll look at some examples of some injury stuff in some of the jam stuff.
I like that, like, immediately when it talks about injury being like an abstract and you should like endeavor to make it real, the rules actually, like the mechanics here already kind of reinforce that, because having injuries already works against you, like in rolls. So it's easy to be like, yeah, you broke your hand or whatever. Like it hit you in the hand with a baseball bat and now your hand is broken. So now you are less good at shooting or using melee because you either have to use your offhand or like gripping a weapon hurts now. So it's cool to be like, yeah, hey, it's abstract. If you're going to use this, make up your own thing. But also, like, if you're using this resolution mechanic, it's already kind of baked in anyway.
Yeah. And like you said, say you did take that injury. Injury subtract -2 from your roll in melee. And then I think we'll get into a section about injuries with when you're shooting. We'll get to that. Each injury adds +2. So to the flesh, to the check. Next is down. After the violence is concluded, roll a d20 for each person down. Add +2 for each injury. So you rolled to be down before,
right?
And let's say you got shot twice, right? Add +2 for each injury. On a 16+, you're dead. Otherwise, you're critically injured and will die without medical attention. So if you go down, you are very likely to die. So roll me a d20 +4 again, because you took 2 injuries.
I got a 12 after the +4 modifier.
Oh, 6. So you're not dead. You're just dying.
I'm just critically injured. So
yeah. So rolling with dis, I love the way that they wrote disadvantage here. Dis/advantage, because you almost always see advantage/disadvantage. But when you dis/advantage, it's disadvantage, but also advantage. Like this is the way I'm writing it forever from now on. This is great. So when making a d20 roll, keep a track of all factors which afford a disadvantage or advantage. We talked about this before, like things like training and things like that can give you advantages. These factors should be easy to spot in natural language, but might also be called out in the text. Advantages and disadvantages cancel each other out. Once all factors are considered, follow one of the procedures below. There's 3 things here, right? So advantages and disadvantages cancel one another out. Roll 1d20 normally. So if you have one and one of each, nothing, roll. Remaining advantages, roll 1d20 and a number of d6s equal to the number of remaining advantages, and add the highest rolled value of d6s to the d20 roll. So this is my question. Add the highest rolled value of d6s. So that's just saying if you roll 66, you just pick the one highest one and add it.
That is how I read it, yes.
Yes, yeah. So again, the technical language in here is as streamlined, bare bones as possible with very little example. It's extraordinarily technical. Again, we talked about it not holding your hand. Like if you just read it at face value, and my TTRPG brain is trying to think of like what they really mean. It's like, just read what they fucking say.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
but
also
still,
like, if you're using this resolution mechanic in your own game that you're trying to like make and put out as your little project or whatever, like you're probably going to play test this, and that's also going to answer a lot of questions for you in the play test,
Yeah. And again, since it is just a framework, you can make it your own anyway. And a lot of people do. We'll go over that. So the other one is remaining disadvantages. Roll 1d20 and a number of d6s equal to the number of remaining disadvantages. Subtract the highest rolled value of d6s. So that's it. Either it all cancels out, or you roll d6s equal to your advantages or disadvantages and add the highest rolled d6 to either way. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
A couple of edge cases. Explosives resolve as shooting against all in the blast radius. Right? What is a blast radius? It's not given here. Make up your own. There are 3 radiuses, though. There is those in the kill zone automatically receive 1d6 injuries with, again, a +2 to injury checks for each one. So if you could get a +12 to your injury check, which means it's impossible not to go down because 13 is down.
Yeah.
They add +8 to be shot and +6 to the injury check. So I think that's per injury. So if you get 2 injuries from in the kill zone, you're just down.
It's called the kill zone. So I mean, really,
it's called the kill zone.
You're right. Also, like playing into like the realism of weapons as this does, like if an explosive goes off next to you, like the likelihood of you surviving is incredibly low.
Extremely, which is, it makes sense in this. I just talked through the mechanic like, oh wait, actually it's d6 each, and it's a d8. Like you would basically have to roll a 1 to maybe live, and that's about it, even on a d6. Those in the shrapnel zone 2, automatically receive 1d6 -2 injuries. They add +6 to be shot and +4 to the injury check. And those in the tertiary zone add +4 to be shot and +2 to the injury check. Still sucks, but survivable, maybe, if you don't have a lot of injuries already. So that's explosives. The next is suppression, which is a later thing added when you look through the notes. So when firing to suppress, no roll is required. So this means by suppression, this means like you're not firing necessarily to hit the person. You're firing to keep them down behind something, keep them locked into an area, like suppressive fire, like cover me kind of shit.
Suppressing fire!
Yeah. When a suppressed target attempts to take an action which could expose them, roll a d6. So you don't roll suppressive. You are saying that suppression is happening, and when they want to do something, their roll. Or when a suppressed target attempts to make an action that could expose them, roll a d6. You're rolling when they make an action. If the number rolled is equal to or less than the number of people firing to suppress, the target is shot. So if you got 4 people firing and you roll a d6 less than 4, shot. The number rolled is how many individuals hit. Resolve each separately, determining randomly which shooter hits. If suppression is at hidden or obscured target, it only has half effect, e.g. 2 people would have to fire to have a 1 in 6 chance of shooting individuals as they take action. And then firing to suppress uses half the ammunition in a weapon. Weapons without magazines or similar cannot be used to suppress. Makes sense, because like you can just wait out like the 6 shots in a revolver.
Yeah.
If a shooter doubles their ammunition expenditure, they count as 2 people firing. Makes sense. Again, you're just holding that automatic down. Machine guns and the like use only 1/10 of their ammunition to suppress because they generally have big ass magazines. Makes sense without having to count ammo, which is, again,
it's
clever.
a really great edge case rule. though. Like it's really elegantly like slid in here.
Slid on in. That's Luke Gearing, elegantly sliding on in. So nonviolence. When discussion and common sense is insufficient to resolve an issue, roll 1d20 and try and score over a difficulty value. This difficulty value is set by the handler, DM, whatever, and stated publicly. They should be able to justify this, excluding any hidden difficulties unbeknownst to the characters. Standard OSR shit, like people should know what they're rolling against and why they're rolling and the consequence of their actions and things. This roll is subject to dis/advantage, which might come from training or the situation. And that is the game. Like, that is the resolution mechanic. It is shooting, it is melee, it is edge cases of violence in those realms, and then the non-violence, which is basically like whenever you're just doing some shit, set a difficulty value, roll it, you know. And then we got a page on characters. So characters should mostly be defined by their so this is not telling you, this is just examples because they're not giving you exactly how to do it. So characters should mostly be defined by their competencies. Some of these will be broad, a job role or archetype, whilst others will be more specific. Competent characters have 3 to 6 skills. Newer, inexperienced characters will have less. Duh. We'll get to that. So more fantastical games might have traits or similar to exceptional strength, amazing ability, and the like. After notable experiences, players should record these on their character sheet. The referee can also dictate that an experience must be recorded. These experiences can be invoked to give advantage, disadvantage. Characters may have a maximum of 5 experiences by default, erasing old one if desired or required. I like that. Like it's if you learn a thing effectively enough to write it down, you can be like, oh, I know this thing from this time I did that thing, and boom, advantage. You know?
Yeah. Narrative character growth.
Love it. Characters will also accumulate injuries and skills throughout the adventure and training. Skills should take a significant investment to develop, whilst injuries can be caused in an instant. For a lighter, pulpier game, allow skills to be accumulated after each quote-unquote adventure or major obstacle, and injuries to be recovered after 1 to 2 such excursions. More dour games, shit that I would play for sure, will require in-world time spent training, researching, and practice. Whilst a skill is being actively trained, allow it to be used as a normal skill. You'll have to research the healing time for various injuries and consider what impacts they'll have. So literally, it's like if you break a bone, that's how long it should take you to heal a bone. And then where important, you may want to generate the background details of the characters. Over-defining this can lead to solved characters who are uninteresting, but having some concrete details to riff from can be very useful. I like that. Just like a little bit of something. You know what this gives me?
What?
A little bit of or a character creation kind of like thing that I might tack onto this a little bit. Fist.
Okay. Oh, I mean, yeah, your character's 2 different, like,
it's two things, 2 skills, together. Like 2 traits. That's it. First of all, I would run the fist system, but you could kind of tack on a little bit of fist character creation to the violent system, and I think it would work beautifully.
I agree. I see it. I fuck with the vision.
Damn. Are you fucking making it yours? Much of these rules were developed as needed in the vernacular style. Think less of what you want to achieve and more of what you need to run your game. Avoid building any further than that. Channel that injury into making more content for your game. Just make what you fucking need. That said, some of the things you'll want to consider up front. What are the primary definitions of your characters? Love that. Do characters have anything beyond skill and primary definitions? Will there be a provided skill list, or should players just determine their own skills? Very smart. Do they need a defined background prior to play? Next one's the best one. Are you sure? And what can I steal from other games to make this easier? That's a great list of every game you should think about.
I absolutely agree. I love the are you sure?
Yeah, it's so good. This very much feels like, and for those that haven't really dug back into, God, I'm gonna say some shit. I like blog posts from the OSR before blogs were content. When people made shit like this just to make shit like this, hoping that people would maybe use it, because I feel like a lot of blogging now is very much just like, I'm a blogger, so I need to put shit out.
Right.
When I mean, maybe I missed the time when people were just doing that all day, but you can find lists of older OSR blog posts, and I love digging through them because this is the kind of shit you're going to find in a lot of them. And that's all I'll really say about it. And that's kind of it. So there's 2 examples here of a little bit more. But other than that, that's 4 pages, one of which is a table of contents. That's the whole thing. And I love it. Again, it's a resolution mechanic and a framework with a little bit of direction to make it your own. It's not a game. And I want to play. I want to play all the stuff that comes from it. So the two things that are added, one is pseudo historical violence. So it's basically just a way to make violence fucking crunchier if you really want. There's a table and shit. So modified melee procedure. Use this to make melee slower and more involved. Good for if it's going to come up a lot, like in a fantasy or historical game. Both combatants roll a d12 and add relevant modifiers. Highest roll wins. Combatants compare their relative levels of effectiveness, however it is derived. The difference between them is added to the more skilled combatant. There's like a d6 roll 0 through 5, untrained all the way up to trained, master, natural born killer stuff. And then you compare the weapons used by each combatant. Always apply the modifier to the player character's roll. If only one party is using a shield, modify blah 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 blah. So there's literally a table like an X and a Y. Fist, dagger, short sword, sword, two-handed sword, hand axe, battle axe, two-handed axe, club, mace, flail, warhammer, spear, halberd, poleaxe, staff, and it goes down one side and the same goes across the other. So if I'm using a club and you're using a hand axe, I would go across club and down hand axe, and there's your modifier.
Yep.
Interesting.
It's an amazingly like BXy table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, because if
it'll take you a second to decipher it. It does make a lot of sense, and like once you like start thinking about it, how this like resolves combat, you're like, okay, I do get this. But I love that it's just this table that's like borderline illegible. It's just like all -1s and -2s.
Oh, don't even start on Hyperborea. So, but this matrix makes sense, except like the top is abbreviated, so it just makes it obviously because it needs the space. But like, so the highest, it's 3 to -3 basically. So the highest is, it's like, fist is I think the highest in just about everything. Anything against a fist. So a spear against a fist is like +3. A two-handed sword against a fist is +3, and vice versa, -3 and shit. So, and again, it's melee. So you're just looking at the difference between things. If the difference between them is 1 or less, both are injured. Same as it's the same check as before. 2 to 3, victor's injured. 4+, injured and injury check and everything. It's just a little crunchier, and it gives you a weapons matrix. And then there's injury check resulting from melee combat. They're modified by the interaction between weapons and armor. So it's the same list down the side, and then it's light, medium, heavy armor. And then, so whenever you do an injury check, the best you can get is a fist versus heavy armor. Gives you -7 to the roll.
That's the worst you can get. Well, I guess best for the person taking
either or. Yes, taken. Yeah. And then the highest modifier you can get is, I mean, it's all minuses. It's all because it's against
0.
the armor.
0 is the best.
So that's the best. Yeah. So a two-handed axe versus light gives you no modifier. Yeah. So that's like, it's like no armor. Same thing with two-handed axe versus light and medium, and a pole axe versus light armor. Like, other than that, there's always it's better for you on your injury check. I like that too as a really interesting mechanic, that like you're not reducing damage because like there is no damage rolls. It's just the number of times you're injured and what that injury does to you. So you never have to worry about how much any of these weapons do. It makes no difference whatsoever. You're just saying how injured you can get from the weapon, which is it's such an interesting way to do it, to not worry about literally any damage whatsoever, because it doesn't matter, because you're either going to get a flesh wound, fucked up, or basically dead, and that's it, because that's how fucking weapons work, you know.
I like you're kind of just reinforcing. I really love this table specifically. Like, I love the idea of like the weapons like having modifiers against armor, because obviously with heavy armor, if you try to punch somebody with heavy armor, like you could still, a punch can kill a person. You know what I mean? But like if you're wearing heavy armor, like maybe you get a flesh wound, you know, and maybe you get an injury if it's like one off. But like really, like you're gonna get like a -7 to.
Well, and this is what's fun, because the more you look through the numbers, the more like obviously they're like well thought out, right? Yes. But like, so what's the number for going down?
It's 13.
Right. And what is fist versus heavy armor?
-7.
-7. So like you'd
have to crit that roll.
You have to crit to hit the lowest possible, where you could actually maybe get that one number that could take down a person in fucking plate mail when you punch them. Like that's the more you look at that, and when you go through the other matrices and stuff like that, that shit pops out over and over and over again, and you're just like, that's so smart. So again, well thought out. These aren't random numbers. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the number that started and everything goes up from there, you know?
That may be how it was. It is like a fun idea though, that like if you have somebody who's been wearing heavy armor and you've been like beating the shit out of them, and they have multiple injuries, which will like add like a positive modifier to their injury roll, that like you could actually finish them off with a fist if they're beat up enough, you know?
Yeah.
You get the -7, but if they have like a +8 at that point, it's like, well, then fucking it balances out fine.
Which is,
there's a lot of fun interactions, you know?
It's so good. Range combat. Resolve shots normally require 16+ to hit. Targets without a shield grant advantage. Injury checks. There's more modifiers here. And it's basically like the weapon used for range, and again, armor modifiers, and that's it. So the most kind of complete violence thing that I believe that Luke has put out is this modern paranormal horror and investigation toolkit, which is like 5 pages long. So we'll just briefly touch on it, and then go through some prose bits. But what it is it says these modifications were used to run a game where all players were federal agents inducted into a covert, unsanctioned government faction looking to investigate and contain inexplicable happenings. So very much like what is I mean, modern federal paranormal, yeah. But what is SCP or something like that?
SCP Foundation, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it gives me the vibes of. Most notably, this means curtailing the initial types of characters and the skill listings, right? So there's a section here on agent creation. So it says, before you play, generate an agent. And I love the agent generation here. It's fucking hysterical in parts. And like all of it is, but also amazing. Before play, generate an agent. So you have to determine a federal agency and record down what that is and the capacity the agent works for, right? So let's say, you could just go straight fucking... Mulder and Scully. Oh, you know, we'll go Men in Black? Okay, we'll go Men in Black. So alien hunters, right?
Yeah, the X-Files, whatever. You're the FBI.
A subdivision of the FBI, right? Proficiencies determine any and records 1d6 plus 2 skills of note the agent has. These can overlap with their agency roll. Love that. Represent particular skills. So if it overlaps with the agency on top of your regular skill, you might get, a bunch of advantage. So characters with 3 to 4 skills are young, 20 to 30. 5 to 6 are mature, 31 to 60, and 7+ are old, 61+. I love that. I love that it's literally like the older you are, obviously you're going to learn more shit. Determine family using age on the table below. You're going to roll for this.
Okay. It's so fucking ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous, and I love it. So I'm going to finish it out, and then we'll roll on the table. So provide a name for the agent and any family they have. Work with your handler to determine redacted. We'll get to redacted, and determine your record, determine and record your everyday carry, as in just like what gun do you always keep on you, because obviously you work for a federal agent. You do that shit. So the table is age, spouse, partner, percentage chance, children, percentage chance plus number, and it's young, mature, and old. So roll a D3 first, I guess.
Roll a D3. I got a 2.
So you're mature. So you would get 5 to 6 skills. So you're 31 to 60. And then for mature, it says 60% chance of having a spouse. So that means roll a D100, and I guess if it's less than 60, you have a spouse.
I rolled a 82.
So no spouse for you.
Yeah.
Let's pretend you did, though.
Okay, cool. We'll say I rolled a 55. There we go. I got a spouse.
So children chance percentage, it's a 60% chance you have kids.
I rolled a 51.
So you have kids. Now roll 1d6 for how many kids?
I've got 5 kids.
You got 5 kids.
I know.
Yeah. And then there is another little number thing, addendum thing that comes down for if you're old, you have a 40% chance of having a spouse or partner, right? It says 40 to 70 represent a dead partner. Roll for children as normal. So if you roll less than a 40, you have a partner. If you roll 71 or up, you have no partner. But if you roll 40 to 70, you had one and they're dead.
I rolled a 42.
So you got a dead partner. Roll how many kids that they left behind.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's so fucking funny. I love that. It's
3.
so good. Yeah, you got three kids that were left behind by your dead spouse and you're old. But you know, they're grown. It's whatever. So there is now a D20 list of federal agencies and, well, I think that's just a typo. It should say federal agencies twice, but it says federal agency on the one. So this is great. So you don't even need to come up with a list of federal agencies because they give you 1 through 20. Everything from Air Force Intelligence to the Office of Export Enforcement.
The U.S. Postal Inspection Service is there too.
The ATF, the CDC. It's great. And then there's a D100 list of skills, which I love. So roll me a D. Just make a fucking character quick. Roll a D20 for your agency, and then roll 5 D100 for your skills, I guess, or just like 2 or 3, whatever.
Let's just do 3. Okay, so for my agency, I got the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, so the CDC.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of very cool story stuff you can do with like paranormal shit or like weird Lovecraftian monsters in CDC. For skills, my first one is going to be where is 55? Locksmith. That's a solid one for a first skill.
Okay, but not particular because it doesn't really work with the CDC.
Right. No, that's just my personal life.
Yeah.
I got another one that's cryptography. Okay. I can fucking read and speak. I know what
either. You know what? Potato.
Yeah.
Golem. You know.
My last one, actually, really leaning into the CDC one, is chemistry.
Boom. I would say particular skill, obviously, in the CDC. Yeah. Sick. And that's it. So there's a redacted thing here. It says paranormal investigators are scarred by the experiences they have. Experiences referee dictates as needing to be recorded cannot be erased or replaced as part of accumulating other experiences. If all 5 slots are filled and the character needs to record another, they break down. For most, this means abandoning their beliefs and retreating into whatever safety they can construct from the tatters of their old lives. So in the previous thing, it said, like, if you get more than 5, like, erase 1, do whatever. This one is literally like, nope.
Well, this one is very like Call of Cthulhu, right? Your characters just get worse and worse until they like just cannot operate as people anymore. And this is very much the same vibe. Like, yeah, you just get hit harder and harder until like your mind cannot handle continuing on what you're working. You know,
yeah. And it's sick. There's the inhuman violence. So this starts going into a bestiary section. The pros in some of these are incredible. So it says impossible beings respond differently to violence. They have evasion, shooting, melee, harm. And that's their stats, which is great. And then there's monsters. Were there any that really stuck out to you? I want to read 1 or 2 because the pros is fucking incredible. Were there any that you were like, fuck yeah, this one goes?
Well, sorry, what? Repeat that.
Were there any that you read that you were like, this?
Oh, dude, yeah, I really liked.
There's
Migos
2 that stick out for me.
I like
please read that one. Please read it because I want to hear how you read it because I know how I read it in my head.
I mean, obviously, like this is like a Lovecraft reference, but the fun guys from Yugoth, ya boys. When using their heat weapons, they simultaneously attack a target and suppress the area, counting as 4 people firing. All flammable objects are in the area are ignited.
Yeah, and we don't need to worry about like the stats and stuff. People can read that shit. But the fun guys, fun guys,
yeah,
bro. But when I read "ya boys," I was like, "What?"
It's so fucking stupid.
It's so good. It reminds me of a lot of the Swivers bestiary ones. Yeah. So one of my favorite ones was the Black Hound, which are crazy. The Peril, the Warden's dogs, cool. Vanguards. A face shredded like a bouquet of flowers, wrapped in a black plastic bag and left by the side of the road. Behind this disaster, a long body of taut flesh over many knuckled bones, flexing and moving independently. There are too many legs. And it continues, but the pros, dude, that's so good.
It's always fun reading Luke stuff. Like, it really is always fun reading it, you know? That's why, like, I know, like, for a while, if you were watching or listening to the show, I was talking about Wolves Upon the Coast, like, nonstop, because I was really, really reading it. And there's a massive map that has, like, a lot of entries into it. And a couple of the books within Wolves that have a bunch of entries. And they're just, like, a joy to read, you know? You're like, fuck, this is so fucking clever, dude.
It's so good. So that's the end. That is
we're done. Good
end.
episode. See you guys later.
Where
are you?
Oh, I'm going to bring this up. So this is the Luke Gearing blog post. Luke Gearing, I gave the URL, I gave the URL before, and I'll give it again in where you think the links are. But April 2nd, 2021, Rules Gun Violence. It talks about, this is the updates for it. We can get the PDF for this and everything. There's a couple. It says, been tooling about with a fast, nasty system for violence resolution, and then I stumbled on this. And what they stumbled upon is this. It is from chocolatehammer.org, and it's a discussion of Boot Hill and the fear of dice, which is interesting because I've read this article previously. I don't remember who showed it to me. So I have first edition Boot Hill. And for those that don't know what Boot Hill is it's a game of when it originally came out was basically like a cowboy western war game that eventually was recognized as kind of a role-playing game. But like the rules, much like early like chainmail and stuff like that, were basically war game rules. So you read this blog post, right?
I'm gonna be honest, I did not end up reading. I opened it. I opened it and started reading it, but I had like several beers beforehand, and I was like, "Fuck, I need to read this tomorrow." And today is actually tomorrow, and I didn't read it.
This is literally of all the things.
I worked before this, so
of all the things to read, this is the one you really needed to read.
It's still open on my iPad like right now. So
cool. So let me explain it to you in the way that I'm explaining it to the audience. Then, so what Boot Hill and the Fear of Dice is basically this. The person who posted this, and I'll remind me, and I'll make sure the link to this is down there too, because this blog post does go so fucking hard. It says by Rutskarn, Rutskarn, January 9th, 2019. Okay, so basically what this says is they wanted to play a campaign of politics, deception, intrigue. Like, what system are you going to use for that? And apparently they tried a bunch of stuff, but at one point they tried Boot Hill. Basically, they all fucking died right away because it's this brutal fuck system. It's basically a war game, and it's super easy for everybody to die. And then
love that.
Then they kind of tried to drift into other games, but everyone kept coming back to Boot Hill, right? And what the blog poster did, what they did with their campaign is they built out this whole area, a very, very Tombstone-esque area, a lot of intrigue, a lot of just like the shittiest people doing the shittiest shit, right? Mm-hmm. But the game, it's so fucking easy to die. Like, you know that if anyone draws a gun, a bunch of people are dead. And even if you piss someone off the wrong way, you can just take a shotgun to the back, because they're not going to come and like, let's roll initiative and fight. It literally just be like, hey, boom, you got shot in the back of the head playing poker. Like, who cares what happens to them or whatever. So basically the campaign became about this. It became so much about the intrigue and the politics and digging deep into all of the things that aren't kind of in that system, because of how deadly it was. Because you know that if you get to that resolution of getting to the rules of shooting, of doing things, it's over. Everyone's fucking dead. It's just a bloody massacre, whatever. So everyone works to, much like in real life, not pull a gun, because as soon as you do, what is the end of Tombstone? It's just everyone fucking pulling their guns, right? Like, that's the resolution, and that's the end of it. And what they say through a lot of stuff, like the culmination of the campaign was they eventually had the sheriff and deputies and stuff that were like triumphant and super aggressive and stuff. And they went to go go solve something somewhere. Because they needed to, and when they got there, it wasn't what they thought it was, and so they hurried back. And as they came through a canyon, like 12 people popped up and gunned them all the fuck down, and that's the end of the campaign. And they loved it, and it made sense because in the context of this,
sounds amazing. I mean, just that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and in the context of this sheriff being super aggressive and pushing and surviving and doing whatever, they basically pushed too far, so it made sense for the NPCs to do this, right? So the culmination of kind of like what I got from that blog post is basically when you want a system that isn't about using violence, the question is it better to use a system that is ultra violent so that if what you want is intrigue and all of that stuff, you stay away from violence because it is so violent that getting to that resolution is the end.
Yeah.
You know? So that is kind of like the stated kind of like or unstated question throughout the entire thing is like, I did the best political intrigue campaign ever because I used a system where if anyone used any violence, the game was just fucking over. So people did everything they could not to get to that point. And when you go back to Lou Gearing's blog post, it says, been tooling about with a fast, nasty system for violence resolution. He stumbled on this, or they stumbled on this, and that's where they kind of got to here, where we talked about a bunch. Like, if you resort to violence in this system, your odds are that you will fucking die, you know? So when you are making games for this, that's the thought, is what else is around this? And I guess the discussion we can have for a couple of minutes about this is, what's your take on that? What is your thought about not only that, but about, so Boot Hill does not say like it's a war game in the beginning. So they really went like an off label. You know what I mean? Like it's like when Viagra started as a pulmonary hypertension medication, but everyone found out it made their dicks hard. So like it was an off label usage, right? It's not what's stated, but it's what came about from it.
Huh. What do I think about that? I don't know. Like for me personally, I don't know.
Do you want an example?
What's up?
Do you want an example?
Yeah, shoot me.
So with violence. So violence gives you that. That is the subtext of the entire thing, right? But we've talked about this before. One of my biggest issues with like motherships, like 0E and 1E, is the amount of stuff that's unstated, and therefore to me is a missing piece, not a defined absence. It is not a thing to work around, right?
Right.
So the fact that there's not sneaking in Mothership, a lot of people are like, what the heck, right? And because it's never addressed that there isn't sneaking, to me that feels like a missing piece. It doesn't feel like a divide, like a defined whole. Like in my brain when I see this, I picture a puzzle, and imagine a puzzle with a big chunk missing out of the middle. It looks unfinished, right?
Right.
But imagine a puzzle with a defined circle cut out. So the edges of the puzzle pieces form a circle out of the puzzle. It looks like a complete puzzle that just happens to have a circle missing from it. But it's complete because the circle looks like it's supposed to be there, right? And that's how I view a lot of stuff like this, where if someone says rules lie, don't even fucking start with me. It's you. I saw the word allied in my peripheral vision, and I was like, no, don't get me started. To me, if you don't address it, it's missing. It's not part of the system. But if you address it, it becomes part of the system. So if you don't want sneaking, you can just say, hey, there's not sneaking and here's why, without changing anything besides but without putting the sneaking in. So a lot of it to me comes down to context, intent, and communication, where that is not how anyone would ever run Boot Hill. Obviously they did and it worked. But if someone did put out Boot Hill and said, hey, if you shoot people, you're all going to die, it's a social game, then that's
I think there's more like this example, like the Boot Hill example in this blog kind of speaks more to like that table and their experience and knowing how that person running the table, that game master, knowing how to corral their players and their players really being attracted to this game as a way of like, hey, violence is so deadly that we should always try to work around violence. I don't think that would work with every single table. Like obviously. So I think it's like a very table specific, but I mean, for me, like and John just put something like this in the chat. I know we don't talk about the chat a lot, but like,
no, I was gonna say his shit.
I don't like the mechanization of social rules. I like little social inspiration tables or something like that, but I don't like mechanics around my social interactions. Like I think that's a thing that you should allow to grow naturally through like storytelling at the table. So I think like in games like that have like a limited scope where they just do not acknowledge another aspect of the game, leave that open to you. And like, I obviously am always like very pro super minimal games because I want to fill those holes how it works for my table and it works for me. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. I just don't think in any game you need to define every single aspect. And frankly, the games that do try to define every single aspect usually come off like weaker for it. Instead, I think like something like violence or something where it's like, we're going to focus on this aspect of like resolution for violence. You know, it's like, well, then you at your table, you can fill it in how you want. That's me. Like, I want to do that work for myself at my table. So
absolutely. One of the things you said, social rules and getting to a point where there are no rules for the social stuff, right? That is a learning curve. We talked about this on previous episodes where like TTRPGs and like the amount of scaffolding that people need for them does I've maybe I'll blog at some point. I don't, whatever. But like I've been trying to think of a way to talk about like what I'm currently calling like micro and macro scaffolding. Micro is in an individual game and macro is in like your journey through gaming, right?
Yeah.
And when I say the journey, I don't mean that there's ever an ending, right? The journey is the
just like life, baby.
The structure you built along the way, right? And that's what it is scaffolding in like a 30-second thing. Scaffolding is the amount of structure that a thing has, but scaffolding is supposed to be temporary. Like when you see scaffolding on a building, it's so that you can build structure and then the scaffolding falls away, right? And in a game, it's not going to fall away, but in the way that you choose to play games, you can learn and get more experienced in gaming to the point along the amount of scaffolding you need till you find that is no longer scaffolding. That is the structure that you enjoy and require, right? There's not a direct path between so much scaffolding that's all you have and none. Like you're basically like board game to LARPing. It is not saying that is the destination to get to. It is a winding path, and at any point people can decide to stop, and that scaffolding can just become a permanent structure, and that's where you realize the amount that you want and need.
Right.
I do think, and this is very like whatever, like 5e is obviously one of the reasons that people really enjoy 5e
is because it's so rules light.
Is because it is so scaffolded. Like newer players, like literally they used to tweet out extremely specific rules and exactly how you had to play it no matter what. Like people knew exactly what to do all the time, and if they didn't know, they just tweeted fucking Jeremy Crawford or whatever and he would tell you exactly what to do. That is a lot of scaffolding for a game versus a lot of the rules light stuff that we enjoy, and we've talked about this before. Like one of the reasons that I shy away from a lot of PBTA games is the scaffolding that is involved in the narrative. And I know a lot of people that really enjoy that, and I understand 100% why they do. And it completely makes sense to me. For me personally, it's just not the type of scaffolding I want in a game for my narrative. But again, it's not about like I'm now further along the path. It's just I've decided that kind of structure is not the kind that I enjoy. I just shy away from that. And what we're talking about is a social aspect of a game that has really no scaffolding. What you're building is kind of like what's around it. And the thing about 5e is people have tried to make an argument before, and I'll say flat out 5e is a bad game mechanically. And you should play other games. But people have tried to argue because it is a combat. It is an OC generator and a combat game. That is all it is. And people try to be like, well, actually, because all you get is combat rules, it leaves all this open space for you to do social stuff. No, it fucking doesn't. Again, that is an absence.
But also, there are social rules to 5e, like your ability to like, read whether or not you think a character is like lying or like whatever.
Roll a insight check and shit. Exactly.
Yes, insight, whatever. I haven't played 5e in a while. So.
But what I'm saying is like, it's trying to say that because it's only combat rules and there aren't any social rules, then it can be a social game because it doesn't give you the rules. So make it what you want. Again, that is what the difference between a a missing piece and a defined absence, right? It's the communication. It's not a social game because there's not a bunch of social rules, because that wasn't the intent, and that is not, because you can use it that way. That's fine. You can hammer in a nail with a screwdriver. You absolutely fucking can, right? That doesn't mean that's the ideal way to fucking do a thing. Just because, again, it's a defined absence versus just a fucking void, right? And the difference, I think, between what the blog poster did with Boot Hill and what Luke Gearing then decided to do with Violence is literally just that the subtext of the communication, the nuance involved with it, where Boot Hill, again, that's probably the only person that ever played it that way, and it worked geniusly.
It's great. It's a great idea, you know?
And then Luke takes that idea and gives you that with Violence, because now it is the communication. It is, you have if I played a game with this system like this, I would understand going in that is the point.
Yeah.
Right. And that to me is, again, the difference between something that's missing and a defined absence, like a purposeful designed absence of a thing, so that then you can fill it with your own, you know, and very different. You, just because you can in a thing, doesn't mean it's not missing. Again, they're like, it's a big difference between something missing and something as the defined void.
Right.
You know? And I think that's what I really got from the blog post is that Luke does the effective job of giving you the nuance and the subtext, and because it doesn't straight up say that, but it is communicated in a way where, like, again, if you play this game, you will fucking die. So the point is to not shoot shit, you know? So anyway, so that is the blog post I wanted to bring up. Chris P. Wolf tossed that out to say, hope they talk about this, but obviously it is the link at the top of the blog post. Yeah, it is been tooling around, and it is the link at the top of the blog post that triggered this entire system, which is great. So for the rest of this, we're kind of going to go into the jams real quick, and we'll talk about that stuff. First of all, there was the Violence Jam 1, which you can find on itch. I'll make sure the links is down here. And this says Violence Jam, fuck war. This was put out from Magical Bee on itch.io. So what I think happened, and I'm not sure because I didn't reach out to Luke and ask, is that they did a, give me 2 seconds. And what they did was someone put out a jam for Violence, and then someone put it into a book, and then they published it. Again, you can find this on Spearwitch. I believe they're still available. It's a dope book. If you are in podcast land, it says Designed Operatives Training Simulation 09, and then Active Transgenic Incidents, and then in the bottom left is a person kneeling like down on one knee firing a gun, and in the bottom right is that haha I'm using violence logo, which is like one of the best logos in fucking TTRPGs, with this person fucking laughing and just whatever, and then it has some stuff on the back. So and then the second one is a Violence Jam 2, which has some art from Chow Brandon Yu, which is Chow, I always say Chowcalypse, Chaocalypse, Violence 2 Jam, and has some more people in it, and then there is the print on demand option. So we're gonna hop into Violence Collection 1. You, for those that are watching on the YouTube, you can see the cover for this, and there it is. And then we're gonna talk about the things that people did with Violence, with this resolution mechanic and a little bit of framework. We're not going to hit on everything. So what you get first, I need to enable scrolling, is the system. They just put it in the front of the book. It is exactly everything that we just read. Slight difference in the melee. Again, we talked about that I believe Luke changed it after this probably came out. It's that both combatants roll a d12 and add relevant modifiers. Now you just have the difference between the modifiers to the highest roll. Edge cases, suppression, non-violence, cool graphic, and then we get a couple different things. So Epic Violence is a small edition from Theodore L. Rivera. Yeah, do you want to go through Epic Violence?
Sure. Yeah, I got some comments. Oh, am I? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Epic Violence starts with down. Badass is like you only die on a 20 plus. Instead of a crit injury, You receive a wound. Each wound counts as an injury, but adds +1 to violence. This is very much your. This is way more of like a action movie badass version.
Yeah, the pulpy version. Yeah,
the pulpy version. Yeah. Wounds. You're gonna roll 1d6. Add +10 for each wound. So 1 to 3. Cool scar. And you get to roll where the scar is. Why don't you roll where your scar is real quick, Ryan?
Yeah. And it's 1x to 3x because I looked at the numbers because it's like 10s, 20s, 30s. Because I was like, wait, that's going to get over 10 real quick. And then I was like, smart you, smart you. Am I just doing a D6 for?
Yes, D6.
6, my torso.
Torso, yeah, cool scar on your torso. The next 4x is nasty scar. 5x is a missing body part. Again, you have a roll between 1 is eye, 2 is ear, 3 is finger, 4 is toe, 5 is hand, 6 is foot. 6x missing body part. Worse rolls for this one.
Yeah.
1 is crotch, it's gone. 2 to 3 arm, 4 to 5 leg, 6 internal organ, and then 7x plus is crushed soul.
That's it. And that's the entire entry, which is great for the jam because there's a bunch of ones that are like, it is everything from literally just these 2 kind of addendums to down and wounds to like complete games. It's so crazy. And that's how, that's jams. And that's what's great about jams on Itch.
That little addendum's like very powerful. Like those 2 little rules really shift how the game feels.
Yeah.
It becomes less lethal and, well, it changes it. It becomes a different kind of lethality and more scarring and less like going down. Like you're not dying. You're just becoming fucked up.
Fucked up, yeah, because you could lose your dick and your eye and like a kidney, and then have some dope scars and shit. But you're still chucking, still chucking along.
Violence on the Snow is the next one, right?
Yeah. So, and this is from. Violence on the Snow is again from Theodore L. Rivera.
Violence on the Snow. I think this is only 3 entries on this one because I think next one's New Dawn. Character creation. Do not name your character. Instead, give them a short nickname to differentiate them from the others. They get a title once they begin killing demons.
Well, now you know it's a demon killing you. Yeah.
This is like the heart of minimalist writing. Setting, you are primitive humanoids living in a cold hell. You are not alone. There are demons trying to kill you. The demons have weapons far more advanced than yours. Use your wits to survive. Okay, we're playing in a frozen hellscape with demons with high tech, Yep. And then weapons. Weapons is a really interesting addendum rule. Anything man-made gives a disadvantage. So you really want to get a hold of like alien weapons.
Yeah, well, demons.
Sorry, demon weapons.
Yeah. So,
alien to you, I guess.
Yeah. That entire thing, right? Is 76 words. And that's take the violence framework, take these 76 words, play a fucking game. Like, I love it. I love it so fucking much.
So I read through the original Violence collection, this one, twice. And the first time reading these, I was like, cool. And then like the second time, because I was like really like locked into reading them, I was like, wow, this like shockingly adds like a non-insignificant amount to like what the system is or what you're doing,
And that's what's crazy too. And it makes me want to just be like, do I need to even make a whole game? Maybe I'll just put out a resolution mechanic and let people make games for me. You know what I mean? Like that's what SRDs are really for people to hack and shit like that. So it's incredible. New Dawn is the next one that's really interesting. Your parents did not give, it's New Dawn, character creation. Your parents do not have much to give except the name. May you wear it with pride. You'd have no glory, no titles, only survival. Those things were of the old world. Time to make something new. And the setting is Ragnarok has come in the form of nuclear hellfire. Baldur, in his roiling flesh, has arrived to scrape the old away to make room for the new. His disciples roam the lands, etc., etc., etc. And then weapons, as Einstein predicted.
Wait, hold on. We've missed the best part. Other gods have come to shit on the land once more. Right. Keep going.
No, I'm just going to finish it. His disciples roam the lands looking for more souls to feed the hungry god so that he may finish his rebirth. Other gods have come to shit on the land once more, bestowing their mutating blessings upon their disciples. They want what you have, however meager it is. All that you build will be found in time. All you can do is try. And then weapons, as Einstein predicted, sticks and stones are plentiful, but so are sharpened metal bits. Great. And again, probably like 100. That's a whole thing. That's great. And New Dawn is from Frankie Stein. FrankieStein.itch.io. That's, again, like, there's no extra rules or anything. It's just setting, characterization, weapons. It's so good. This next one, I sent you the link to this.
You did send me the link today. Yeah, it's in our Discord messages.
Yeah. So the next one is literally, describe the next one, please, while I find this.
Yeah, so the next one is definitely like a code snippet for a generator. It's written like like you're coding. Like there's even like at the top a note on how to make comments in your code, which is a cool basic skill. But yeah, it's the HTML and CSS for a generator. Well, actually, I guess it's also like got classes and everything that you would use as well to create like a generator. And there is one. So
yeah. So someone coded and I went through it and it's all gun generation. What are you talking about? Like everything is in here. I literally rolled this like 100 times to be like, is that one in here? Is that one in here? They fucking did. They put everything in here. So this is it. So I roll it, and the selection option is you can pick military, hunting, looted, or foreign. So pick one.
Foreign.
Foreign gun. So a foreign machine gun. A splitter-tarn camouflage pattern is painted on. It has a huge and mostly useless suppressor, and it's found with 148 bullets. So someone took this part of this. I don't know if it's a person who made it or not, but they literally took this, and it's pages long of literally just code. Of literally, like, I'm talking, for those that don't understand what I mean by code, literally it's like tab in a bunch of stuff, tab out, tab in, and then name equals pistol, shots found with, like, parentheses or like whatever the parentheses with points are, 250 bullets, stat. Like, it's literally the code that you could copy paste into some code maker and boom, you got a generator. And they published it like that. It's
VS Code. Use VS Code.
VS Code, sure. This one just cracks me up in every possible way, where it's just like, I made a generator for it. How do I put it in a book? Oh, let's just publish the code of the generator.
It's incredibly funny.
It's so this game, and it's also in a weird way that people that made shit for this are so Luke Gearing too. You know what I mean? Like, this book is as unapproachable and unsympathetic as like all of Luke's shit. This is the one, I don't know what it is. So it's a D666 table of stuff, and I'm not sure who it belongs to.
Oh, this one, I gave up on this one. It's here.
Because it's not Swan Songs, it's not A Gun for Country, it's not Blessed Art Thou, it's not, maybe it's Cryptic 2 by T.N. Scrivener. Because
a lot of fun deciphering this, obviously.
Yeah, because so there's kind of like a list of contents on the back, but it's not in the order that's listed in the book, as far as I can tell. Because After New Dawn is not Swan Song for Canaries from Seth Ian. It's just this D666 table. So roll me D666. I'll roll one 666 sided die. I got 237.
I got 426. You do yours.
237 is. Oh, fucking, where is it? Well, you're gonna be a pain in my ass.
What number did you get?
Control F 237. Bone Picker. What did you get?
If my numpad would unlock, there we go.
Well, let me do it so like I can see it.
426.
426. All right. What'd you get?
Stillbirth.
Yeah. That it's just I don't know if it's attached to one of the other ones. There's a gun at the bottom, so maybe these are like your gun names. I don't know what it is, but it's a D666 table of just like Barrow, Butcherbird, Bandit, Hagfish, Earthmother, Silverback, Stillbirth, Fisher King, Enochian, Death Valley. Like, I don't know what this is for, but this is a sick fucking list. I'm gonna roll for it a bunch of times.
I'm gonna say it's gun names. I'm gonna go with that.
That's what I'm thinking. So the next one is most likely, and this is another thing with this jam, is like some of them have authors listed, a lot of them don't. And again, what's written on the back is not written in order, so we don't know what it is. But my assumption is that this is probably Blessed Art Thou from Nico Santagoy. And this is through assimilation we avoid annihilation. It's a very religious coded stuff for it. So it talks about the Codex of Saints, the archives wherein inscribed is the history of saints known to people. It talks about using the Codex. It talks about some alternations to violence, which is acquiring. This is really great. So acquire clay from earth touched by the roots of a tree struck by lightning, or earth scorched by an inferno, or earth witnessed to death. Acquire any amount of blood from their next of kin. Create a small doll with both ingredients, and basically like you hammer in a nail that is like either electrified, very hot, or coated in strong poison. You hammer that into the doll with the clay from something that's been struck by fire, struck by lightning, or touched death with the blood of the kin, and you curse them with that violence. It's so fucked. It's so cool.
It's so bizarre. I mean, this is one of my favorite entries, but it's so incongruous with like like everything else. You know, like.
It's so weirdly, deeply like, and it feels very like Santeria. Is that what it is? It's like the very kind of like Catholic voodoo.
Oh yeah, like something like that. Yeah. Yes,
because
that is the name of a religion that has some practices like that, I believe.
Yeah. Santa Aurora of Subterfuge. Santa, I believe, is like Santa Ana is like Saint Anne. That's like a very like yeah. So but that one's just dope.
So it's something. I mean, like the rituals it describes here are fantastic, and I love very ritualistic magic.
Yeah.
I think it adds so much more to magic for it to not be like I burn my spell slots. Like no, I superheated the nail and I drove it through a doll with a piece of hair or skin from my enemy, and I burned my enemy from afar. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
That is dope. And we're not going to go through
what this is.
Yeah, we're not going to go through every bit of this because it's $12.50 an itch. Go fucking buy it, or go to Spearwitch and buy the physical book. Support all the creators that made this like sick fucking stuff. So we're not going to we're very rarely going to dig through like every bit and part of someone's thing, but we'll talk on some. So like for example, like Viosim is another one from Nico Sagatoy. I'm probably saying that so fucked up, but it basically adds a card mechanic to initiative, and then the cards give you the number of actions you can take per turn. So deal one card to each combatant, one additional card for things like superior numbers, prepared position, things like that. For every 2 ticks of suppression, combatants lose a card. In case of surprise, blah, 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 you deal cards. Once this is done, all cards are revealed and actions are taken in descending order, including suits. And then combatants with multiple cards take multiple actions. Each action is like a thing, whatever. That's so interesting.
It really is a really interesting system. And like, you can lose actions in this by, I think, taking damage, right? Is how you lose actions.
So I think if you have multiple cards and a card goes before you that damages you, you lose cards before it gets to your turn, is my assumption. Yeah. I will say one thing on the Luke Gearing blog post, if I remember correctly, I think at one point he was talking about initiative doing it like Troika tokens. And I couldn't be more glad that they didn't. I love Troika. I just don't want to use that in a system, and I think it would muddy the system so much.
I've actually, fun fact, we played a one-shot Troika several weeks ago that someone else ran at my table, and we used the token system, and a lot of the players at the table were like, oh, fuck, I didn't even get to go this round, because they were like, they do the end round token, and that'd be pulled, and you'd be like, yeah.
Which is fine, and if you have a group of people that are like buying into it all the time, that's great.
Yes.
I personally, again, we played Troika before, and I think everyone, even people that have made a million things with Troika, were like, no, we're not doing that. It's extremely clever, and I like it. I just don't want to use it. I'm trying to think of some other really good. So there's a lot more to this than that too, because it talks about body armor, weapons changes, close quarters. This one's very fleshed out. Shooting at a melee. Whence comes the venison?
Is an interesting one,
bro.
It's like, so whence comes the venison is a like your.
Real quick, because I don't want to forget. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Whence comes the venison is from Seamus Brad. At OPHIOLITF ophiliath.blot.im Seamus Brad.
It's this really interesting one where you play as like poachers going on to like this like royal land to hunt, but the royal land's like it changes and it's very like it's very dark and it's a really cool take. And the setting itself, like, yeah, you're like hunting illegal animals to bring food back to your town, but you're going into these like royal like forests that changes every time you go in. And the more you go in, the better you are at navigating it if you survive to come out again.
It's crazy.
Bizarre. It's awesome. It's a great take. It's
bizarre as fuck.
It's bizarre. It's great though.
Great for violence. You know what else I would run this the fuck out of in?
Oh, Trophy Dark?
Trophy fucking Dark, bro. Like in a heartbeat, I would run this in Trophy Dark in a second. Here's just one line.
Very Trophy Dark.
It does. It does. Like, because we know we're not going to give too much away, and I'm going to roll past some of the tables so you can support the creator and go buy this shit. But one of the lines I'll say is, as a poacher, all you know is that the game meat here fetches exorbitant sums from clandestine buyers. It is said to be delicious beyond measure, but you must never ever consume it. Like that. it's this incredible, and it's got character, so it's an adventure, but it's got character creation stuff, it's got equipment and weapon stuff, and then you start getting like a bunch of map stuff, encounters, some changes with the stuff, and then there's some stuff at the back, the violence addenda. So it adds some stuff for marksmanship. It talks about machetes, hunting knives, creatures, and then credits and thanks in the back. Seamus Brad, Luke Gearing, big logo here, dope. This is one of my favorite ones in Violence 1 just because of how fucking dark and fucked it is. It also is a more complete one.
So insane. I would love to play this. Like, it'd be just such a bizarro dark game. But in the same way that, like, I feel very similar about being Trophy Dark. I mean, I read it and I was like, cool, yeah, I see it. You know?
Yeah. It's this one, man. This one goes hard. I love this one. The next one we're gonna kind of skip right over is Albedo. So this physically exists. I just can't find it. I own it. It's a role-playing game of violence on the high frontier, and it's got a picture of like the flag waving on the moon, right? And the brief. This is from Sam Barrett, and the brief kind of synopsis for this is it's a hard science fiction role-playing game about lunar warfare. The reason we're not going to talk about this any more than that is this is one of the most complete games in any part of the Violence collection, and it's definitely complete enough and exists physically, so I want to go over this on the show at some point.
I would absolutely love to go over this.
Yeah, so we're going to skip Albedo from Sam Barrett because it's going to be on our list to actually go over and review and score and everything, because there's enough to it. As we scroll through, like really quickly, you'll see that it's got safety tools, it's got intro, it's got character generation, traits and languages, mechanics, like the system with a bunch of adaptations to it, grit and progression, which is different, jobs tables, condition and maintenance.
It's a cool zine game, you know,
and an adventure built in with the system too. So it's great. Character sheet, which is cool. So yeah, we're gonna skip that one.
And we're going to go straight to Hard Lads.
Hard Lads.
Hard Lads, an extremely relatable scenario for violence.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm good to read this one. Yeah. I'm going to read it too. It's Friday night. You've just sculled 2 full bottles of Britain's finest tonic wine. Some blokes just looked at your girlfriend approvingly, and it's time for you and your mates to prove your worth as hard lads. So rules. Melee rules only, no weapons. This is a fist fighting game. Yeah. Roll 1d6 to tan a drink. Odds give advantage. Evens give disadvantage. Roll a 6 causes uncontrollable vomiting. Being down does not result in death. Instead, roll on the tables below.
What is the name of the? Yeah. Well, no. What is the name of the table?
Oh, the first one. Fucking L, mate. He's out cold. Death is for the weak. Real hard lads do the following.
So we're not gonna go through all of the things because again, like, buy the fucking shit.
Then there's favored drinks, and then the last table is 1d6 fight excuses. Yeah. The first one is I'll just say the first one. He was looking at my bird. It's also wonderfully British, you know.
It's so British, dude. Like his bird is obviously like not an actual bird. I'm not. There's another part I really like, number 6 in the favorite drink. But anyway, so the next one is a swan song for canaries, a scenario for violence. This is by Seth Ian. And the background to this is it's 1940 in Swan Song, Colorado. You're a miner for Pine Cliff Coal, and basically they're a bunch of union busters, and they've trapped all the rest of the union in a mining camp, and with hourly patrols and shit, because the union wanted like pay for dead work and an 8-hour workday, and you need to strike out across the ridge from town, 4 days away, get home and save the miners. And there's a whole thing on creating miners and foraging and everything like this, and tools of the trade, the bastards you're fighting. And again, that's from Seth Ian, who's put out a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
The bastards you're fighting, it literally says the bastards. Like,
yeah. The bastards you're fighting. The Pine Cliff Coal. So Seth has done a bunch of stuff. You can find a lot of their stuff over on Space Penguin. I was going to say you can find some stuff over there. And amongst a bunch of other things. Again, we'll make sure that the links to everyone that we can find is listed below. But Seth's where is Swan Song? Oh, it just says Seth Ian. They didn't put their itch or anything down. But yeah, Magic Bullets, Sam Sorensen. I believe they did Magic Bullets and this Merchants of Death part, and then they actually have like a picture kind of like the rainbow of the sticker, except this one's like die cut. Love that. But the magic bullets are magic bullets.
They're magic bullets.
Lag time bullets and recycler rounds and piercer rounds and shit. And then you have Merchants of Death, which is who they are, what they want, where to find them, and who will be after you. So we're not going to go to the magic bullets, but why don't you roll me 4d6 real quick and give me your Merchant of Death.
Okay. My Merchant of Death. Victor Bout.
Nope.
You can find him in East Berlin. What they want is an assassination cover-up.
Yep.
And then who will be after you? Interpol.
Boom. There you go. And again, this is just a cool. Everything in this collection is so. Again, it's from a thing that's only like 2 rules addendums to full adventures to full games with adventures to just like a D10 table of different magic bullets and then a couple D6 tables for Merchants of Death. Like, I love this collection. I will say, and we've talked about this a bunch of times, and we did talk about like how I think that this book is so. I don't know how much Luke Gearing had involved with this. It does list. Luke has a bunch of stuff in here, including Texan Empire, compilation and secondary design by Jerk Crater. I will say I do wish that they had made sure to put the author's name at least on the name of each one at the front of each thing.
Yeah.
But I also think that the unapproachability of this and like the difficulty of parsing it and the work you need to put in to kind of figure it out also just feels very Luke Gearing, and it makes sense for violence. You know, we said that a bunch of times where I was like, man, this book feels Luke. Hegemonic Manifest is like a D, I believe, 20 table of, I believe they're just like sparks. So just roll 1d20. We'll just go through one. And I'll take them off the screen.
9.
So pseudo MP3 players, a wholesale shipment of consumer devices, comes in 2 parts, an audio player and their removable USB stick. Transmits and receives audio with a 2-kilometer radius. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the Hegemonic Manifest table. And a lot of the other ones, sometimes they're things, sometimes they're situations. Yeah. It's just a lot of really interesting prose and like what I said, I think it's like sparks for stuff. 10 Hail Marys for violence. This is Roz Leahy. I like the beginning part is I'm using violence, content note, violence, religious violence, drug use, sexual assault, abuse, institutionalization, infant death. God fucking damn it, I'm sorry. So this one is basically about it's Irish, obviously. As soon as you see Claudia and Owen, spelled Eoghan, it's basically about nuns in this area. One of them escaped the church. Everyone trusts the church in the area. That's cool. But one of them escaped, and this lit she escaped from the Sisters of Quiet Suffering. This lit a fire under some feet, and a plan is being hatched by some of the young lads to break into the school and free some of the other girls. That is the adventure. You get a map, you get factions, you get a map of the Lady of Quiet Suffering residential school and laundry, and all of the associated things for the adventure for that, and that's what you get for that. The next one, I actually had this physically because it's Mark Conway, and anything Mark Conway does that exists physically, I will do my best to have. This is one from Exalted Funeral. I did not realize
you had it physically. That's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what they do for those that are in podcast land, what they did in the book for the ASIC zines is they just like printed it exactly as is with like a big margin around the sides for Albedo and Swine, both from Exalted Funeral. But Swine from Mark Conway, who did Meatheads and a bunch of other awesome shit. This is a scenario for violence, and basically you're a pig farmer and you're trying to get your pigs to town and then back again. And there's just so much. It's so good, and it's so fucking funny. One of the best lines in here. You are a pig farmer. You adore your pigs. Speaking of their beautiful heft brings tears to your eyes. Sweet cherubs knowing nothing of the world. The extent of the cruelty man commits is rebuked by their muddy pen. You would die for them. You would absolutely kill for them. Treachery from hungry neighbors, soldiers, and hog thieves is a nightly horror which rattles your mind. My favorite thing, I don't know if you noticed this through, but it cracked me up the whole time. It's the 4-day journey. But literally everything you run into through the entire thing is like, it adds a day, it adds a day, it adds a day. And you only have 4 days of food. So it's like, oh, you more than one person's accompanying you, adds a day. You run into soldiers, adds a day with your like 4 rations of food. It just cracks me the fuck up, like all the way through.
Yeah. I mean, I think the logical like thing about this game is that like if you start running out of food, you know, you got a herd of pigs with you. You know?
Yeah.
Like
but there's soldiers that take bribes, so think what the bribes might be. It's so fucking funny, and it's so good. And again, like it's just like how much this man loves his pigs and how probably impossible this journey is. Just it's so good. It's so good. So that's Mark Conway. Let's scroll through some more.
Also, shout out Mark. Shout out Mark for writing something so ridiculous, you know.
But that's everything they do is so good. But again, like also like Meatheads is so good as a system, but also just cracks you up all the fucking time, and everything they put out for it is just hysterical. And that's great, is to be able to like read it, laugh, and then play it and enjoy so much of it.
Yeah.
Empire of Texas is like the biggest thing in the fucking book, and it is the Empire of Texas, and it comes with like everything you need from weather tables to like loyalty rules to traveling to like
a massive hex crawl. Like it's an incredibly large hex crawl.
Yeah, which again like is, I mean, if you know Wolves Upon the Coast, you know, but it's huge, and you get the hex map, which is great. How many hexes is it? I think if we just scroll to the end of the hex thing, it's like 16.31, 4.30, like 49. It's just a fuckload of hex. It's a massive hex crawl. Corpo Hit Squad, incomplete, from Reese Carter. Reese Carter has another one in the next one. We'll go over a little bit more. But this one is someone's attempting to steal the corpse data. Your phone buzzes and the job is on. You grab your gear, hit the road. Corporations have equal power to governments, and exactly what you think from that. Like you're trying to hunt down a runner who's stolen shit. So you're the bad guys trying to get not Neo in that movie where he has his stuff in his head. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
With the girl that's from that movie with the bugs that people think is like pro-fascism, but it's really not, and they're just dumb.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah, why am I blanking on it? It's like obviously one of my favorite like Keanu Reeves movie. It's so terrible. He just puts too much data in his head. And like the signal, man, and then there's the dolphin. Fuck.
I never watched that movie. I know of the movie of which you speak, but yeah.
You've never seen it?
No.
Oh my God! Someone in chat, someone listening will know what I'm talking, and they'll be like, "It's this, you fucking idiot!" It's great, but this reminded me of that very, very much. And then that's it. That's it. So we'll put this up and we'll run through these names real quick, so you know everybody that's in here. So Violence from Luke Gearing, obviously, and this got Luke Gearing's blog and itch post. Epic Violence from Theodore Rivera. Violence on the Snow from the same. New Dawn from Frankie Stein. FrankieStein.itch.io. Swan Song for Canaries from Seth Ian. A Gun in the Country, which is the generator, and that is from Ducarino. Ducarino.cardd.co. They're working on a cool game with like devils and princes and shit that looked really fucking cool. I wanted to dig into a little bit more. Magic Bullets from Sam Sorensen. They're at Head of the Goat. I don't know if that's still their name over on Blue Sky. Blessed Art Thou from Nico Santagoy. Hygienic Manifest from Redacted. Albedo from Sam Barrett. Cryptic 2 from T.N. Scrivener. And that's why I think that's the D66 table, because it's the only one that we don't really know. Right. Tin Hail Marys from Violence. Roz Leahy. At All Things Truly, or at Two Rats Press, or at allthingstruly.itch.io, and you can find them also on Blue Sky. Violsim from Nico Santagoy. Swine from Mark Conway. Venison, which is the From Whence Comes the Venison, Seamus Brad. Quick and Dirty from Reese Carter. Hard Lads, from another one from Seamus Brad. Texan Empire from Luke Gearing, and then we said Secondary from Jerk Crater. So that is and profits from the physical print run of this compilation will be sent to Ukraine Refugee Aid. Fuck war. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that's Violence Jam 1, which will make sure we have the link to the jam page so that you can buy it just digitally if you want, or I do believe they're still available on Spearwitch. The next one is Violence 2. And again, this is art from Brandon Yu on the front. Chaocalypse. Amazing artist, does a lot of amazing stuff in TTRPGs, a lot of fucking everything. It's like, oh, I just happen to make this line of cut thing. Oh, I just happen to make this like sound thing that when you scroll over it gives you different ambient noise. And oh, I just happen to like paint these minis and make the solo game and do fucking everything like in the space. Brandon is awesome. So go find them and support them any way you can. So for Luke Gearing's Violence, submissions is Art.Trash by CJ Samovia, Empire Fat by Luke Gearing, Haystack, Oregon by Luke Gearing, Peep Show by Benito, Sag River Extreme Cold Research Facility by Luke Gearing, Stayback Crew by Reese Carter, and then Zombies Kiss by Spooky Rusty and Tony Jaguar. And then cover art by Brandon Yu. So this one is much more structured than the last one. There's a title page, I think, for every single one of them. Everything in it is much more finished. I believe they're almost all either full adventures, or I think they're all just full adventures. I don't think any of them are like games, but some of them have more rules added to the games. So we'll just run through these a little bit quicker because, again, we don't talk about adventures, and we want you to go support this. Get it on itch.io. And or buy the physical print on demand, which I can't wait to buy. So first they did print the entire everything in here except the prehistoric violence, like Matrix, is the same, literally like copy paste. Even the hyperlinks, except that they don't go anywhere, but you can click on them if you want. So I think they literally copy pasted. Yeah, but it changes colors in my hand, and my cursor becomes a hand, so I feel better. But it's not bookmarked or anything. And it does use the original highest roll wins with the relevant modifiers. It doesn't have the modified melee band in this one. But it has everything, and including the modern federal paranormal and investigation toolkit. And then we get to the best, like straight up just the best looking one in this whole thing. The Art.Trash scenario for Violence one. The graphic design on this is fucking insane. Great.
The adventure's really really another bizarro cool adventure in this too.
But the front has like, it's mostly covered with like a not barbed wire, like a what is that called? Like a something link, chain link fence. And then there's a graffitied image in the background, but this girl in the front, which is obviously like a Renaissance painting, turning to the left. But everything from her like eyes and nose down to her actual like dress is bullet casings. It looks so cool. It's so cool. So again, we're not going to dig too deep into this, but on the outskirts, let me fit with. On the outskirts of some droning city lies a carcass of an old museum. An art gallery known as the Daydream now resides within its crumbling walls. Corridors of antique paintings and uncovered relics sit alongside shrines to the occult. Recycled battery acid sizzles away in steel drums, yielding psychedelic sludge consumed by those who curate the gallery. Visions of crooked history await those willing to submit themselves to the eccentricities of the daydream. Bro, like, again, we're not going to dig too deep into the adventure, go buy it, but reasons for checking out the art, the Cortex Coven and the Violet Drip. This spread, bro. Again, let me zoom to page level with like the torn page. It's got like the cat, like, I don't know if they're like the Tasmanian, like the cat that's whatever, the little leopard cat, but with like half the picture of this, like, dude, bro, like, just the graphic design in this is crazy. Then we get a whole page of like pixel art, like NPCs and shit, like Ambrosia Nash and Kenny Greaves. This feels a little bit like the layout on it reminds me a tiny bit of like Cyborg and Merkborg a little bit, like the way they did like just the lines and off fonts and stuff like that. It reminds me a little bit of like the very clean parts of layout for the entire adventure. So there's maps of every level, roll tables for the daydream and random encounters and guns. And again, this, bro, like,
and
every
each
time
floor, as you go through several floors, each floor has this like really insane like graphic design art page as like the entry point for each floor. Like, we're looking at the first floor right now, but they're all like of like an incredible quality.
Yeah, like floor 2, it's got like, if I'm not even going to describe these, it either go download the PDF or come watch the fucking YouTube so you can at least see the spreads for the floors. They're incredible. This is 3rd floor. And then we get to the basement. Just it goes so hard. It goes so hard. And then that's all we're going to say about that. Empire Fat. So there's a couple of these that we're really not going to go over, but Empire Fat is one of the ones from Luke Gearing, which is clearly a mission briefing for the modern paranormal federal thing,
absolutely.
like the thing in the game. So this one is about you're trying to exfil BX Poacher. The opposition wants them, and in 10 days, if they don't get them, they'll kill them, and your job is to get in and get them out. And that's what this is. And obviously there's a lot more to that because it's fucking Lou Gehrig, but that's in there. Then the next one is Haystack, Oregon, which is dope. It gives you a timeline, and then there's a brief. There's some characters involved. There's some descriptions of the town. One of my favorite things about the timeline is, so upon the Pacific coast rests Haystack, a crumbling town of 687. Boats rust in the harbor and trash accumulates in the streets. Deindustrialization and a failing fishing economy leaves most of the population retired or unemployed. The sea does not weep for them. Of course it doesn't, Luke. Like that, when I read that, I was just like, oh God, it hits so hard. My favorite thing about the timeline is it goes back from 130 years ago to 8 days in the future.
Yep.
I love that. And everything in between, including the current day you're on and multiple days in the future. And then the brief is here again. Go pay people money. We won't dig too deep into this one, but it slaps, and it's one of the longer ones for that too. Peep Show by Bonito. It says it's a work in progress. If you do not have an eye for weakness, then this is not for you. This one is interesting. It's money that matters. It's what it buys or what it. It's not money that matters. It's what it buys or what its loss represents. Face is everything. The trick to calming someone down is to trick them into thinking. Conversely, a high percentage stratagem is to never interrupt an enemy making a mistake, invariably because they aren't thinking. I love that. An NPC is a sum of their reaction rolls. We won't dig too deep after this, but I love the reaction table. Roll 2d6 when something is threatened, taken, or destroyed. Find out what it is and squeeze. So roll me 2d6.
Yeah, you should read what the names of each choice are, though.
2 to 5 is Lizard Brain, 6 to 8 is Prisoner Dilemma, and 9 plus is Ultra Game Theory.
I roll a 10.
So Ultra Game Theory. See the world in high def. Think a few moves ahead and extract maximum utility. Cooperate until you can smell their blood in the water. This has got to be the best reaction table I've ever read, because it doesn't say anything without saying everything. So like, we're just going to go through this whole table, and then because it's select art. So Lizard Brain, it says, suffer frontal lobe blackout, see red, assert dominance at all cost, recoil from pain and discomfort, and at worst become unhinged, psychotic break, paranoia. So Lizard Brain roll is obviously like you're just like not thinking, which is the point of what they said above. Prisoner Dilemma is like it's are you not? Yeah. So acquire the power of delayed gratification. Cut a one-time deal, and once it's done, the gloves come off, and this is what rat cunning looks like. And then we read the Ultra Game Theory one. It's so, bro, like the vibes radiating off of this are incredible. Like this is narrative, mechanized narrative to like this is incredible. I want to use this reaction table for everything from now on. Fuck the 2d6 like to 12 and everything. This is incredible. So it goes into Tomoko Garment Factory Limited. It immediately just goes into all of these areas. So a garment factory, and then a whole page on it, and then Bennessee Industrial Park, Master Strokes. And so again, this is very obviously, you can tell like it's not super, it's not telling you this is that. As you read, you figure out these locations and things going on and the people involved and all of them. It's such an interesting way to write an adventure, where it just starts talking about what the thing is and and the people that are there, and that's what you get. And the writing is incredible. The writing is incredible all the way through.
I also meant to point this out earlier. I do think it's really funny because I am from Texas, and Luke has an Empire of Texas adventure, and I'm also living in Oregon, and Luke has like a Haystack, Oregon.
That Oregon adventure. He's following you, bro. He's following you. I love this part in the back here where it talks about a little bit more of the rules. Unregistered guns are run in across the poison river and traded for a cup full of low-grade tea. Pulling a trigger is easy. Hearing loss is forever. Like, it's so good. There's like pistol stuff here that is like a whole table for pistols. Over the phone, order Tech 9, buy now for 1d6 day express shipping. Like, big semi-automatic GAT from Italy. Sports a very fussy external safety. It's great. There's a long arms table too, protection from 1d6 condoms all into a baseball bat. Like, that's protection. Oh, this is my favorite. 1d6 condoms, 4 and 6 chance you're regular size, 2 and 6 you buy magnums. It's so good. It's so fucking good. And again, all of these are longer and more in depth than a lot of the previous stuff. So it's really good. Novel opportunities for the cash rich or more things worth millions to fight for. You may hear about. Money begets money. It doesn't stop. It keeps going and it's great. The next one from Luke is and it is also a hyperlink. So this exists somewhere, and the hyperlinks were just like taken out because I don't think it's on page 2 or page 14, but there's table of contents in here.
I agree.
Sag River Extreme Cold Research Facility, Alaska. We're running longer than I expected. We're not going to go too deep into that one, but it's a whole adventure with maps and everything. This is I think I said the last one was the longest. This one's clearly the longest. Stay Back Crew from Reese Carter. This is really cool. It starts with, this one adds a little bit more I believe there's some more changes to the rules here. So the dice required for the game, advantage, disadvantage, initiative, choose a person for each group to be the roller for this round. This person should change each round. So they did a bunch of different stuff. 1d6 is rolled per group involved in the combat. So they did tweak a lot of the rules for this and then have initiative modifiers and stuff for 2. And then shooting is 15 or higher. And then it talks about short burst, long burst. It adds a lot of other modifiers and stuff to it. So they really went much farther with the system, I think, than a lot of people did as far as tweaking it. They even have usage die for armor, which I think is incredible. A whole like D6 lingering injuries table, usage die for limited supply things, and then flat out listed difficulty values for everything else. So they did a lot with that. And then what they did was Stay Back Crew. And it says, after a number of years combating insurgents in the war on terrorism, Eagle End pulled out, a proper handover wasn't conducted, and all the current attempts at rebuilding, developing, or stabilizing the general area have just stopped, and the equipment has just been left behind. A small unit has been required to stay behind once the uplift is finished, and you are that unit. Dope. It sounds really cool. There's known factions in the area. This is very much like a counterinsurgency thing, which is really, really cool. And it talked about who knows what and what knows going on and things like that. There's a lot of stuff here on further reading, which are really interesting, which are like what terrorism in Western Europe. Like, there's a lot of stuff about terrorism and NATO secret armies and like threat convergence and all of this like Afghanistan Taliban stuff, like actual reading. That obviously this was like, further reading on the Wagner Group. If you've never listened about the Wagner Group, you should go check that out. But yeah. And then Zombies Kiss. Last thing we're going to go over. Spooky Rusty and Choni Jaguar. Spooky Jaguar. Bro, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Mr. X introvert got in touch with a devil named Warren Buffett, to pay off his college loans. Mr. X got caught using black magic on a patient, and his credit was already bad. So what could he do? Anyway, Warren Buffett shaked his hand and told him to marry his daughter and make electronic cigarettes with dead bodies in it. He said yes to both of them. Bro, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is that? It's incredible.
It's amazing.
It makes no fucking sense.
I know.
And I'm just gonna there's an encounter roll table here. Claire Danes whispers a hint seducingly into a player's ear. She's nowhere. Like, I just want to go over the container part in the beginning because there's a lot more to it, but it continues to make no fucking sense, but also be playable in such a fucked, funny way. It's crazy.
Ridiculous way, absolutely.
Bro, you wake up here, metal teeth grinding into your head, bald and naked, piled on the floor under an iron roof, surrounded by crooked needles. An empty gurney under a dentist floor lamp separates you from a person sitting on an office chair. This is Yves Blue Klein. He's wearing a Chanel cut wig, safety glasses, a bloodied Metallica shirt, denim jeans, and red plastic boots. He's sitting on an office chair next to a drawer with all sorts of medical cutting tools. He is smoking an electronic cigarette. Is it filled with dead bodies? I don't know. Checking his smartphone, and an electronic bone saw sits on his lap, plugged to a gasoline-powered generator outside the container. Bro, and it just continues to devolve and progress at the same time somehow into the adventure surrounding the container, like the mansion ground floors, the front porch. Like, it's so... this one is obviously the most whacked out one. And I would play the fuck out of it. It's so crazy. Yeah. It's so fucking crazy.
It's funny. Several years ago, I did play a one shot with a group of guys, and the guy was trying to achieve the vibe that this is actually achieving, and I wasn't able to give him a good example at the time of what he was trying to do. But this is such a great example of this fucking over the top ridiculous type of weird pop culture reference, odd agent. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but this was it. This is a fucking movie on acid. This is, yes. And you have no idea what the fuck is going on. Yeah. This genuinely feels like what's the Ralph Steadman one with what's his face with the wife that shit on the bed and stuff. God, my brain's not working today. He's the guy that wrote about it's Johnny Depp in the movie where he does a bunch of drugs. Anyway, the part where he does a bunch of drugs, is this a fucking adventure? Not that part, but I'm saying the vibes around that part. That's what I saw when I saw this. And then there's a violence at the back with I believe a couple of small changes. And that's I believe that's the end of Violence 2. And yeah, there's a person at a desk with Clifford in the back. I assume Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig is a noted Clifford lover. Clifford the Big Red Dog. And that's Violence 2. So that is that's Violence. That's what we're going to say about Violence. Violence is a nasty, fast resolution mechanic that a bunch of people have done some really cool jams for and made some awesome stuff. And I wish more of this kind of stuff existed in the TTRPG space. I do too. This was really cool to go through. It was a lot of fun. It's cool to see everyone's take on this. I think the resolution mechanic system is super interesting and obviously easy enough to riff on to create your own thing. And there's a lot of great creations going on in this.
I wish I'm not gonna 5 seconds of, can people I'm in this because I enjoy the hobby, and I like the hobby part, and I wish we didn't live in a society and an economy where people felt the need to hyper capitalize every aspect of their free time, including their hobbies, into things, and worry about how they're going to monetize everything that they make. And I wish more people just made shit like this. And this is what's great about Itch Jams, is more times than not, no one's paid. People are just doing cool shit to do cool shit. And this is a great one. And I'm not one, but two, and both are physically available relatively inexpensively. One is literally print on demand, at cost. So you can just get that and then just pay for the PDF. And it's fucking great. And I love this, and I want more of this. And Like, this is the kind of shit I want to make something cool enough that I can just put it out for free and people can make more shit for it, you know?
Absolutely.
We need more of this. But this is why we went over it, because it's loot gearing. Loot gearing is awesome, and the system fucks extraordinarily fucking hard, and everything that people have made for it across both of the collections is incredible. If anyone has more stuff like this that they find, let us know. Or I would love to dig more into things like this. Just let us know. Catch us tomorrow if you're listening. Jarrett's going to be on for our Not Cat Chats. We're talking about Rosethorn Keep.
Oh, mine's downstairs, but
yeah. And next week the plan. We'll let you fucking know. That's it. You have anything to add?
No. Solid weird episode.
Violence. Fuck war. Support all of these people. I'll put as many links as I possibly can to everything that I can, and including links to the jam pages. Buy the books. And violence. Bye.
Bye.